NASCAR fans, welcome back down pit road. This is your host, Ralph. We're talking about NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action. Really excited to be talking about Throwback Weekend. We are going to the Lady in Black this weekend, but before we get there, we'll review last week's action at Kansas, all the explosions. And before we get there, we'll quickly just go over where you can find us. This is for Sprint Cup NASCAR Series action. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. That's what we do here is we talk about what we saw last week, what we're going to see this week in terms of some picks we might use to win on sites like DraftKings, NASCAR, FanDuel, right? Like we want to try to take home some daily fantasy money. That's what we do here at Tiger Bomb Sports Audio Entertainment for football, for baseball. These are sports where we can go in there, take down a $50 contest, take down a $100 contest. We want to start to do that with this. And so we're learning together as we develop this more knowledge about the Sprint Cup series of racing in general. So that's who we are. You can find us at www.tigerbombsae.com. All the Tiger Bomb Sports Audio Entertainment podcasts have their own page there, so you can click on the Pit Row page, and then you can listen to this podcast there. You can also watch it via the YouTube page there. If you want to watch on YouTube, you can. Search for Tiger Bomb Sports Audio Entertainment. The page will come up. You can catch everything we have there, the true crime, all of it. The football mostly football and true crime on YouTube outside of NASCAR. Where else can you find us? If you like to listen to your podcast on the go, you're a person that likes to listen to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any of that sort of a stuff, you can search for Tiger Bomb Sports Audio Entertainment, like and subscribe, then you will catch all of the episodes of Pit Row, as well as the episodes of the other podcasts we have at Tiger Bomb. If you are a social media person, Facebook or Twitter, just search for Tiger Bomb Sports Audio Entertainment. You should be able to find it, no problem. And then you can catch links to the shows there as well. So another cool way to keep up with us. All right, so if we venture back to last week, we got to talk about what we saw go down at the Kansas Speedway with the Advent Health 400, because tempers are flaring at this part of the year for NASCAR. There's a lot of drivers looking to make a playoff push, a lot of drivers trying to solidify playoff push. So there's some temper starting to flare here. But as we would get underway in this race last week in Kansas, as we start green, Byron and Larson are up front to start. Chastain is quick, and he's into second right away. So the order becomes Byron, Chastain, Larson, Reddick, Truex, Logano now. The cars are all over the track, though, at this point in the race, and so no real lines. It's like guys are feeling it out. Like it looks like when I was a kid, I would play with my Hot Wheel cars. Like they just be all over the track, right? They aren't running in two lines. So guys feeling it out, right? Something happened with Byron, though. He starts sliding back a little bit. Reddick starts moving up, though. 5 laps in, Larson, Chastain, Reddick, and Byron battling for the lead, and then we get our first caution. Larson gets turned around. Everyone avoids. Reddick was trying to fill the hole behind the leader car, Larson, before Chastain could creep up, and then he accidentally taps Larson in the back, and so that's what sends him a little spinning. Chastain works to avoid, though. Good job by him. One of the few times you're going to say he went out of his way to not wreck somebody, but more on that later. We're green again, and Reddick and Chastain up front now. Cars still everywhere, 10 laps in now. And then Valentine Gibbs are running well, 6 and 7 now, flying to the front, those Toyotas. Truex and Hamlin are 3rd and 4th now, so those Toyotas are paired. So the Toyota's strong as expected to start that race. And then all 6 Toyotas at this point are racing in the top 8. So a lot of what we expected to see there. Green flag racing here as guys feel it out. We start cycling through our green flag pits. 37 to go in stage. McDowell brings it in. Only LaJoy remains, who needs to pit to complete the cycle. And with 34 to go in stage, he does so. And so we're all through. Bit of lap traffic at this point now. So Truex and Hamlin racing for the lead. We'll lose from the 14 on pit road. So Chase Briscoe, that's going to be a penalty probably into this week, maybe. If memory serves, another pit crew was able to catch the wheel, bring it back over the wall. We'll see if NASCAR penalizes them for that. I did not look into that in full candor before this show. 23 to go into stage 1, and then the order becomes Truex, Hamlin, Reddick, Gibbs, Suarez, Wallace, Keselowski, and then Bell. And then Brad K pitted early on in lap 7, and so he had been out there really since, just running a very long stretch. And so he's stretching it at this point, hoping to have enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage. 15 to go, same order. Brad K is 13th now, so he's dropping back further. Stack cars on old tires, low fuel. Larson has his car back in the top 10 now. The car is good after that spin around. 2 to go in stage. Hamlin takes the stage. So the Toyotas are strong, and as expected in that first stage of the race. So we go green again, and Hamlin and Truex are up front. Truex and Hamlin not really challenging one another, just hanging around. And then we get a caution. Turn 2, Cindric into the wall. He had a flat, was running 19th, and so we get a restart for stage 2 now. Wallace out front now. Bubba Wallace, another Toyota. Chastain and Larson up there with the Toyotas now. So the 5 is a rocket at this point. Larson is probably the best driver, but that car is so good too. Hendrick Motorsports, man. So the order is Wallace, Truex, Larson, Chastain, Hamlin, Gibbs at this point in the race. Reddick battling. Nearly wrecked, but he keeps it going. 30 to go. We have Truex, Larson, Hamlin, Wallace, Chastain, Reddick in stage 2. So we get a caution. Turn 2 down the back stretch, the 10 of Almirola. And Ty Gibbs having some difficulties during the pit stop there. But we would go green again. Larson and Truex out front. Another caution. Eric Jones off turn 2 again. The 48 has a flat. That brings out the caution. So we get a crazy restart now. 4 wide in some cases on this restart here. But the order becomes Larson, Wallace, Hamlin, Truex, Busch, Kyle Busch now, Blaney now, 8 to go in stage 2. Another caution, Christopher Bell, crazy spins off of 2. He hits the sidewall very hard. Immediate response team on the scene now to check him out. Very hard hit. Restart to go with 3 to go in the stage, and then we get another caution. Logano is going to take the stage because of the caution, but Kyle Busch in the 8 car gets tangled up on the restart, and he's sent spinning, and then, Rowdy has to get towed into the garage area. So not a great time for him. Restart now, 97 to go. Larson, Hamlin, Wallace, Elliott, Blaney, Reddick, Truex. That's the order. As we start stage 3 now for the final leg of this race here, Toyotas are still strong at this point. Reddick's moving. He's fast and he knows it. Then we get another caution. Ty Gibbs gets loose. Tried to save it, but couldn't. He's got a lot of damage, shredded tires and everything. I mean, just a ton of damage. And so we go green again with 84 to go now. So the order is Larson, Hamlin, Elliott, Reddick, Blaney, Wallace. And then we get the caution. Harrison Burton spun around. A little more mixed in now. Toyota not all up front so much now. And then we go green again with Truex, Logano. I don't know who that was. Truex, Logano. I don't know who's there. But then Larson is 4th, Elliott, Grayson, Suarez, Hamlin, and that's 71 to go. Truex, it's Dillon. I'm sorry, Dillon. Truex, Logano, Dillon, Larson, Elliott, Grayson, Suarez, Hamlin, 71 to go. Truex and Dillon stay out on that last caution, and so that's how they're able to kind of get up to the front with the rest of these guys. The 42 goes spinning, so that's another caution. First 4 cars didn't pit, so they have a leg up here. Green now again, action all over the track. LaJoie, Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Priest now. Byron and Larson moving. They race up to 1st and 2nd. 54 to go now in the race. The order becomes Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Truex up top. Caution, turn 3. The 43 of Eric Jones gets turned around. 11th caution of the day. He's the reason there. Restart now. The order is Byron, Larson, Hamlin, Truex, Logano, LaJoie. Chastain working his way up. He's 4th now, 40 to go. The 3 racing hard now. Dillon is 10th. Larson ahead of Byron now, 26 to go. Hamlin able to nose past Byron. The order is now Larson, Hamlin, Byron, Chastain, Wallace, Logano, 25 to go. 15 to go. Bubba Wallace is 4th now. So the order is Larson, Hamlin, Larson, Hamlin, Byron, Wallace, Chastain, Logano. Hamlin, he charges, but he couldn't quite get to Larson, basically. Larson's got a little distance on him, so he can't quite catch him. 7 to go. Lap traffic can't help Hamlin. Pretty much Larson is cruising at this point in the race, and then with 2 to go, Hamlin stays in. He stays in the. He's keeping it. He's trying to. So we have 2 laps to go. I'm sorry, I was forgetting. I was so excited I couldn't even see what I was writing here because it becomes jumbled. Because Hamlin's trying to keep it. He's trying to stay the course. He's trying to stay with Larson. He's trying to make a move on him, and he's chasing him down these last couple of laps here. But he stays into his side, and then Hamlin eventually turns Larson. Like, he just straight up turned him on purpose, you guys. And when I say turned him, like, how these guys say moved him, like, if it was us out on the road, it would be like a road race thing, because somebody would say, like, you wrecked me on purpose. He moved him. He turned Larson. Larson able to correct and get second, but Hamlin stalked him, drove right up to him. He did a good job, and Larson did a good job trying to hold him off. But Hamlin took second. Trying to hold him off, but he took second. Larson, on the second look, doesn't actually touch. Hamlin on the second look doesn't actually touch Larson, it appears, but he still gets into Kyle Larson still gets into the wall playing the chess game. Like, it just looked like it was going to be close. I don't know. There was some sort of a friction there, and that's building drama between them. Basically, it was tough racing, tight racing down towards the end, and as we're getting longer into the season, those two tempers are flaring. Kudos to Larson for saving it, getting second. I mean, that's incredible considering how aggressive this was. Even Denny Hamlin's pit crew chief guy, he's on the earphones, and even he's saying, Larson's the best driver in the world, man. Like, they might have won on Sunday, but they know that Larson, that 5, that dude is a legend already, and he's so young. And they played a little game with them on Sunday and came out ahead. Big win for Denny Larson. Obviously, big win for Joe Gibbs Joe Gibbs Racing. I feel like it's going to come down to it again, and Hamlin shouldn't be surprised if in the playoffs Kyle Larson returns the favor. This is the same thing that Hamlin did to Chastain last year. So, big win there. Clean win for Denny. Clean enough, it appears, but there's some friction there. Clean enough, we'll say. That's his 4th Kansas win, by the way. Back-to-back wins for the Toyota. We talked about Toyotas being strong. Talked about doing that on DraftKings. It went okay on DraftKings. I kind of mixed in the Fords as I said I would. That was the undoing. If I would have just straight went Toyotas, Team Toyota, even just mixing in the manufacturer or the different, racing companies and just staying with that manufacturer, it would have been better. So, lesson learned, but we still took something away from it. So, 2 weeks of green, which is good. But, after the race, we get action from Noah Gragson and Chastain, who, again, it's a situation where Chastain aggressively driving, and Gragson, is the one who gets wrecked at the end last race there. They get into it, and Gragson comes up to him, and Gragson grabs him, and, he's got him by the collar. Chastain tells him to let him go. He doesn't, so Chastain pops him one. That's fair game. You come up to somebody, you grab him, and you pushing him, you shoving him, and he popped him finally. But tempers are flaring. Gragson afterward didn't say anything anybody wasn't thinking. Chastain has got a reputation. People know what he does, and then you see it every Sunday, and then it's like, he's got a reason for it, or it wasn't my fault, or whatever. And, yeah, I think Gragson is right. You got dudes you respect, like Chase Elliott, in your ear telling you beat his ass. Like, I get it. I completely get it. But one thing Gragson's got to do is maintain his composure. Chastain has got energy to burn for you, brother, but you don't got it for him. You new to just, primarily being on these cup races. So you got to really focus on what you're doing and don't let those tempers take away from any momentum you want to try to build here with this opportunity. Just my 2 cents. But if I were Gragson, I would like to see him run more of these other races. He should run the Xfinity Series races. And I see Bubba Wallace doing that this weekend, and I see Bubba Wallace running the trucks. I'm getting ready to sign off, guys, so I can go watch the trucks. But I like that. If you're struggling at the top level, take advantage. And so maybe more of these drivers who are in the position with their team, I know it's not a lot that can do that, but maybe they should think about that. Anywho, let's look forward to the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway this weekend, the Lady in Black. We'll go to South Carolina for the 1.366 mile track length race. Purse is $7.7 million, y'all. Race distance, 293 laps. That's 400.2 miles. used to be 500 miles for the throwback race. And so if you're unfamiliar, we're going to have these throwback schemes. It's great. That's cool. I like it. It would be like if your NBA teams, wore the throwbacks or whatever. Like obviously they do that sometimes for games. So same sort of a deal here, guys. We'll go throwback, and stage breaks will be at 90 and 185, and then again at 293 at the end of the race. Most recent winner here is Eric Jones. He's done pretty well for himself here. A couple things we want to look out for. 5 different drivers have won the last 5 Darlington races, and so maybe somebody new to take the perch again. Toyota has won 4 of the last 8 Darlington races, with Chevy having only 1 win in the last 12. That's another thing we really got to pay attention to. So Eric Jones is the only driver under 30 years old to win at Darlington in the last 15 races. So experience obviously leading the way here. The last 3 Darlington winners got their first win of the season. So that's something to consider. I mean, I'm thinking in my mind already the guys that you can formulate a plan with based on this data. Eric Jones represents really incredible odds. Like obviously Vegas isn't thinking you have a shot, 65 to 1, because he only has 2 track victories and only 7 top 10s in his 10 career starts. But he's led in 5 of his last 8 starts here. Led laps in 5 of his last 8 starts here. So this is his best race by far. You want to try to get a little Eric Jones in there if you can. But outside of that, I'm thinking my strategy from last week on DraftKings would be good here, where I went Toyota and Ford, and I should have just went Toyota and Ford this week. So as I'm thinking about these teams that I'm making, one thing that I can't get away from is being able to go Stewart-Haas and then Larson and Bell. Now, to me, that's like the best Toyota, the best Chevy, and the Fords. Like that's a power team, because you can't really do all Gibbs team. You can't really do all whatever other teams, but that combination right there, I think is going to be something special on Sunday. So full candor with you guys, like I've been building some momentum the last couple of weeks, and I want to keep it going. But placing a lot of faith in that, but I certainly will try to get some exposure to Eric Jones. I think about it now, I got to heed my own advice. I don't think I've got to play him. I don't think I played him in even one lineup, and I've got 3 lineups. So I'll do another one with Eric Jones. So that'll just be 4. But stick to that, guys. That'll bring us victory, hopefully. And we'll just come back here next week and talk about what we saw. All right. Good luck if you're playing. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching the race. Peace. See you next week.